From the Siouxland News Studios in HD, the Wayne State Coaches Show with Jordan Furby starts now.
How's it going, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Wayne State Coaches Show. I'm Jordan Furby, and joining us, as always this week, is the head coach of the Wildcat football team, Dan McLaughlin. Coach, welcome back, and under happier circumstances this time. The weight is lifted off the shoulders, and we've gotten that first win of the year. Obviously, a great hard-fought victory for you guys, but still a lot to work on. We'll talk a little bit with the first half right now. The final versus Minnesota Crookston was 41-25. Starting in the first half, you got to feel good scoring on 4 of your first 5 possessions. You kind of jump out to a quick 28-0 lead. Just take us through kind of those first possessions.
Well, we had a good drive early in the first quarter and capped off with a touchdown, and then our defense came up with an interception in their red zone. So Jerron Irby intercepted a pass inside the 5-yard line. John McMenamin, our offensive coordinator, wanted to take a shot deep, and so go ahead, and we protected it well. Zach Osborne threw a great pass, and Adam Stark got under it. It was the ball was almost 60 yards in the air and hit him right in stride, and he took it all the way in for a 97-yard touchdown. So
second longest play in school history. Not too shabby right there.
And so they were inside of our 15-yard line, and now it's 7 for us. So it's really a 14-point swing there, and so that made it 14-0. We got a turnover later on. They faked a punt and in their own end, and it didn't work, and we were able to snuff that out. And Tyler Elgin made a great tackle. So the next play, Zach hit Cole McDaniel on a crossing route for a touchdown. So and then we scored again later to make it 28-0. They got a touchdown right at the end of the first half. We blocked the extra point. So we go in at halftime 28-6, and we hadn't turned the ball over. We'd gained a couple of turnovers. We had intercepted a pass, and Nick Monzu had recovered a fumble. So things were looking pretty good at that point.
And we'll get to the second half, obviously a little bit later in the show, but I got to imagine you felt pretty good getting off to that hot start that maybe you guys haven't had before, but it seemed like maybe your best half of football that you guys have had so far this year. I mean, front to bottom, top to left to right, you guys played really well that first half.
Well, we did. Offense was hitting on all cylinders. Zach was throwing the ball well. Our receivers were playing well. We protected well. He hadn't been sacked. Charlie Davidson continued to run the ball well. Our defense had played very well. We gave up a score, like I said, late in the half, but our defense was continuing to play well. Special teams, we'd only punted once, but it was a good punt, and we'd made all 4 of our extra points, and kick coverage had been good, so I was really pleased.
And it's got to be encouraging too. We'll obviously get to the second half here in a little bit, but it's got to be encouraging to see that if you guys can do what you did in the first half with a complete game, makes you feel
exactly.
Yeah.
And that's really the key. And we talked about this last week when you asked about 3 keys to victory, and one of the ones I said was consistency. We just have to be more consistent is all. We've been good in all 3 games at different times. We just need to be a little bit more consistent, and when we get that consistency, I think we got a chance to be really good.
Absolutely. Well, the Cats took a 28-6 lead into the break. We'll see how they got their first win, and we'll also get Coach's impression of the first one of hopefully many more wins this season. Plus, we'll check in on other Wildcat athletics in Wayne State 360 and preview today's opponent. That's all still to come. Stay tuned.
Siouxland News presents the Wayne State Coaches Show on Fox 44. Brought to you by the Diamond Center, State National Bank, Pack and Save, The Max, Arnie's Ford, Michael Foods, Northeast Nebraska Insurance, and Wayne State College and the Wayne State Foundation.
And welcome back to the Wayne State Coaches Show. We're joined by head coach Dan McLaughlin. Coach, looking at the second half, you guys enter with a 28-6 lead. But like we've kind of talked about, turnovers just kind of seem to maybe be the team's Achilles heel right now. A couple turnovers to start, 2 fumbles, and then Crookston gets a quick touchdown to kind of cut this thing to a 2-possession game.
Yeah, the first or the second play of the third quarter, our first possession last week, we fumbled and gave Mary the short field, and they went in and scored. Same thing, exact same thing happened this Saturday against Crookston, except this time it was the first play of our first possession of the third quarter. After kickoff, we fumbled the ball, give them a short field, and they knocked it in. And it's just something that we've got to rectify, we've got to fix. And we had 4 turnovers in the second half. Lost 4 fumbles. We lost that one. We fumbled a punt. Zach lost a fumble on an option that may or may not have been a fumble. He says he was down. Film is inconclusive. Basically, there was a pile, and they come up with the ball, and they got awarded the ball, and that happens. And so he's just got to make sure that he secures the ball. And then we had a fumble late when we had some reserves, some substitutions in the game that didn't really affect the game, but it was still troubling. So 4 turnovers and then 5 against Mary. So that's 9 turnovers in the last 2 games, and it's just something that has to be fixed.
We talked that Crookston got that touchdown, made it 28-13, but you guys bounced back. That was the only score of the third quarter. You guys bounced back in the fourth and get that nice long scoring drive. 14 plays, 89 yards. Zach ran that one in to make it 34-13. Game seems to be at hand right there, and maybe the score shows it was probably a little bit bigger of a lead than what the final score shows. But talk a little bit about that fourth quarter, and you got to like the response that the guys had, at least getting that touchdown in the fourth quarter to preserve that lead.
To me, that was the most important touchdown of the game. As you said, a long drive, a clock-eating drive. We bit off pieces and chunks all the way down the field. Very, very well executed. We converted a 3rd and long on a screen pass that Charlie Davidson caught from Zach, and 3rd and 14 or something, and converted that, and ran the ball very well. Got all the way down inside the 5, and then ran an option play, and Zach walked in basically. So very, very gratifying drive, and really proud of the kids for answering the bell there.
And Crookston didn't go away. They answered right back after that turnover. They cut it to 34-25, but then Mr. Reliable Charlie Davidson kind of comes to the rescue and gets that nail in the coffin to put you guys up 41-25, and that would end up being the final 35-yard scamper. I mean, he was kind of quiet touchdown-wise the whole day, and then he answers right there in the fourth quarter.
Well, and that was an unbelievable run. We ran an outside zone stretch play to the right. He got over there and saw that probably wasn't going to work. He cut back left, broke a tackle in the middle of the field, and then hit the jets and went in. And just a really, really great run, highlight film type of a run. And the other group that I want to throw a bouquet to is our offensive line. They did a great job all day. Zach never was sacked. They protected him well. Charlie had another big day on the ground, and I thought they did a very, very good job.
And we'll get a little bit into the stats and stuff, but it seems like you guys are starting to get a little bit of multi-dimension with Zach throwing more, and obviously Charlie's rushing attack too.
Yeah, and not just throwing more, but throwing to more receivers. A lot of kids were active Saturday, and Zach did a good job of spreading the ball around.
All righty. Well, coming up after the break, we'll take a look at the final stats and get coaches' thoughts on the game. Don't go away. And welcome back. A 41-25 win for Wayne State. Its first of the season. Now here with Coach Dan McLaughlin getting his final thoughts on the game. Coach, looking at the game, third straight game that you guys have outgained your opposing team, 459 to 374. Another real balanced day, 207 yards rushing, 252 yards passing. Zach Osborne led most of that, 10 of 19 for 249 and 3 touchdowns. And I think most importantly, 0 interceptions. What did you see in Zach? I mean, obviously, I think he took a big step in this game.
Yeah, and he's a redshirt freshman. Did not redshirted last year, so he didn't play at all. So just his third start. He's gotten better every week and continues to do so. And I think the sky's the limit for this kid. I think he's going to be really, really good. Obviously, we hope sooner than later, but he took another step Saturday, and I'm real excited about his future.
You always hear about when kids from high school to college, college to pros, you kind of hear the game slowing down for him. Are you seeing that a little bit in his eyes, the way he's kind of managing himself and the team on the field?
Yeah, and he's he's recognizing defenses better, how their coverages are being set up and how they roll and how they move, and he's just doing a better job, and I think he's going to continue to get better.
And one guy that's continued his hot start is Charlie Davidson. Another big day for him. 26 carries, maybe a little less of a load than what he's had the first 2 games, but 26 carries for 172 yards and 2 touchdowns. It's got to be nice to have that reliable workhorse.
Yeah, he's just an outstanding back, and really, really thrilled with what he's been able to do and continues to do. Rashad Trimble, a true freshman out of Omaha, Bellevue East High School, came in and gave us some good work at the backup running back position on Saturday, and we think that he's going to really be able to take some of the load off Charlie too. So a little bit of depth there, and that's always good.
And what we touched on in the break before, it's nice to have the rushing attack, but you're starting to have that a little bit more of that vertical attack too. 3 different receivers had a score this past Saturday. Got to be nice to know that as much as it is to have that workhorse, you're starting to develop that passing attack too, which makes you guys hard to prepare for.
Well, yeah, getting more kids involved, and Zach does a good job of spreading the ball around. Coach McMenamin does a great job with his game plans and being able to utilize different kids, and it shows, and the more balance you have, the harder you are to defend.
And it's not just one receiver. You guys are, like you said, mixing it around. There's not just one guy to prepare for, because I feel like you have 5 or 6 guys that can have that quick strike and score at any time.
Absolutely. And Adam Stark gives us that deep threat because of his tremendous speed, and then we've got Tonev Abraham has had a couple of big games, and now we've got Cole McDaniel and Nate Rogers, both 6'5", big targets outside. Tyler Hoppus, a true freshman, caught a touchdown pass Saturday. Grant Otten, Cody Calhoun, just different guys. And Nick Roth is another true freshman. So we're really pleased with our receiving core, and hopefully we can continue to use them.
And we touched on the turnovers as a place for improvement, but looking at the good, this stat jumped out at me. Minnesota Crookston was 0 of 14 on 3rd downs. What was, I mean, you guys must have just been shutting them down on the third down. What was kind of the big key to getting that stat?
I think tackling and pursuit, and again, Mike Aldrich is our defensive coordinator. He had a great game plan for them and did a great job, and our kids really responded well.
Yeah, 0 of 14's not too bad of a stat.
That's pretty good, yeah.
What were your final impressions of the team? Obviously, it's good to get that monkey off the back, like we said, and get that first win. How's the team progressing now?
Well, we're getting better, and that's the key. We're getting better, and we've gotten better every week. We just need to continue that. The big bugaboo has been the turnovers, and we've got to get that fixed. As soon as we do, I think we have a chance to be really good.
Absolutely. Well, Wayne State 360, presented by Northeast Nebraska Insurance, is still to come. Don't go away.
Wayne State 360, a look at what's going on all around the Wildcat campus. Brought to you by Northeast Nebraska Insurance.
And welcome back. Time now to spotlight Wayne State 360. And once again, we are focusing on the volleyball team. Scott Kneifel's team is now 9-1 on the year, going 1-1 in conference play. They suffered a tough loss last week to Minnesota State. They've now moved down one spot to number 8 in the top 25 poll in Division II. They have hosted Augustana Tuesday night. They had Minot State last night, and they'll also take off against the University of Mary this afternoon at 4 p.m. Wildcats still doing very well for themselves. They currently, like we said, ranked number 8 in the Division II volleyball top 25. So good luck the rest of the week to the Wildcats. Coach, coming back here now, talking about this week's opponent. You guys get a tough one for homecoming. Number 13th ranked Minnesota Duluth. They're coming off a tough loss to number 2 Minnesota Mankato, 21-17. Going to be a tough test for you guys. How do you kind of prepare for a team like this? I mean, obviously it's going to be a tremendous test for you guys, but what kind of goes into preparing for a squad like this?
Well, in my career, what I enjoy is these games, these big games. I've always looked forward to this kind of a challenge and this kind of an opportunity. Minnesota Duluth has been the best team in our league for the past several years. Won 2 national championships. Just a tremendous team and tremendous tradition. But having said that, we've had a little success against them. The last time they played at our place, we were able to win 7-0. It stopped a very long winning streak that they had. But they're going to have a lot of motivation. That's part of it. Coming off a tough loss to Minnesota State last week, losing 21-17, they had the game-winning touchdown pass called back because of a holding penalty right at the end of the game. So they're going to be all fired up for us, and we're going to have to be ready. But I look forward to that challenge. I look forward to these games, and had a great week of practice, and I think the kids are jacked up and ready to go, and we're excited to play.
Now, you mentioned the 7-0 game that you guys had a couple years ago. Do you know kind of what, I feel like each coach, the more and more you play, you kind of know what kind of style. Are we going to see a low-scoring game, or could this turn into kind of a track meet? Well,
it's going to be a physical game, I'll say that. Both teams like to run the ball. Both teams have big offensive lines. So that much I can say. They do have a new coach. Bob Nielsen left Duluth to go to Western Illinois. He's the new head coach there, so they do have a new coach, Kurt Wiese, but he was an assistant there, so I don't know that much has changed. We've prepared the same, and what they've shown on film has been pretty much the same. A big, strong, physical team that likes to get after you, and we're just going to have to answer that challenge.
And obviously, people will look at the rankings. It's first top 25 team that you guys are playing this year. Does that change the preparation at all any bit? I mean, does the guys get a little bit more amped up to have the potential to knock off a team like this?
Oh, I'm sure they do. But that all goes away after the first hit. So you quit thinking about that, and then you go back to your fundamentals and stuff. I've never been a big rah-rah guy in the locker room because I don't know that it makes a big difference out on the field. And so I don't know that that makes a difference. It does during the week when you're thinking about it, but when you're actually out on the field, you're not thinking, oh, this is a top 10 team. You're just playing. And so we need to go back to our fundamentals and execute our assignments. And if we do that, I think we got a great shot.
And you're gonna have the homecoming crowd and have the nice home confines of Cunningham Field too.
Absolutely. It'll be a big crowd and a great atmosphere, and really looking forward to it.
All right, sounds good. Thanks a lot, Coach. Well, up next, we'll see what's in store for Wildcat Athletics this week, plus get Coach's 3 keys to victory coming up next. And welcome back. Time now to check out this week in Wayne State athletics. We'll start with the women's soccer team. They have a home match against Bemidji State tomorrow at 1 p.m. and then they will go on the road to Minnesota Duluth. That game is set for Friday at 6 p.m. The cross-country team has the South Dakota State Invite coming up this week. They will be in Brookings, South Dakota for this one. The women will run at 5:30 while the men will run at 6:15. And then we mentioned the women's volleyball team going on the road this week. They'll be at Moorhead at 7 p.m. next Friday, and then they will play Northern State also on the road. That also is for next Saturday. Again, that one will be at 7 p.m. Well, coming back with Coach McLaughlin. Coach, you guys have the homecoming game, a big opponent coming in, Minnesota Duluth. I have a feeling I know what one of your three keys to victory will be. What's going to be our top three, though?
Well, as you said, number one is turnovers. We just simply cannot turn the ball over. And I've told the kids that if we don't, we got a great shot. And that's the number one key. And it's probably the number one key in every game. Football is predicated on turnovers, and usually the team that wins the turnover battle wins the game. We just simply cannot turn the ball over. The second thing we have to be able to do is handle their defensive pressure. They're a big blitz team. They play a lot of man-to-man, and they blitz a lot, and we've just got to be able to handle that pressure, recognize it first, and handle it. And then the third thing is tackle. And we've tackled well. We just need to continue with that because they're going to run the ball at us, and if we're going to have great opportunities to get them in punting situations if we tackle. So not turn the ball over, handle their pressure, and execute defensively, and I think we got a great chance.
Now, kind of the theme today has been we had that first win under your belt. It's nice to get that. Have you noticed a kind of a sense of confidence among the team this week in practice? Have they kind of had a little bit more of a pep in their step?
I think it's been more a sense of relief, Jordan, really, because we felt like we outplayed the first two opponents and lost, and it was almost like throw your hands up. What do we got to do? And then finally, whew, we won one, know, and so I think they're seeing a paycheck for their labor, and we talk about that a lot. Saturday is payday, and so they're looking forward to again a great opportunity against a great opponent and a chance to measure ourselves.
And I know the rankings, I feel this early in the season are kind of very fluid. They go up and down. They were 7th last week. They're 13th this week. Does that affect you guys as far as preparation? I mean, I know we talked as far as you not being a real rah-rah guy, but it's pretty much you're going to play them right on the field, and it's going to be a football game. That's pretty much black and white. Yeah,
that's pretty much it. And you don't really have to talk about rankings with Duluth because they're Duluth. They're, like I said, they've won 2 national championships in the last 6 years. They've been our conference champion several years in a row. Great tradition, and so it's just Duluth. It's if you're in the FC, the Division I, and we're playing Alabama or we're playing LSU or that's who we're playing in Division II, and so you don't know what are they ranked 2, 4, 6, 8. It doesn't matter. This is who we're playing, and so the kids are excited about that.
All righty. Well, Wayne State plays Minnesota Duluth this week. They'll go on the road at Augustana next Saturday. That's going to do it for us. Coach, I'd like to thank you once again for sitting down with us, and best of luck today.
Thank you, Jordan. I appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely. That wraps up the Wayne State Coaches Show. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you next week, and go Cats.